everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Hack-A-Mall. We are back, and this one, if you thought our last Hack-A-Mall, and if you missed it, it's a paper mache pumpkin. Okay, check it out. We have linked it below.
Yeah.
This one is tons of fun and really spooky.
Yeah. So we started off with like chew material, like chew things needed. Then we went to like 4 or 5. Now we have this table full of stuff that to craft.
We're going to a pool, so you're gonna need a pool noodle.
Yeah, we're gonna go a little swimming action. We're in Florida, so that's a standard. Everyone has pool noodles.
No, you guys, we're gonna hack the set of 2 candle holders, and I think you might already guess what's going to happen here. Obviously, if you don't like the color, you can change the color.
Just whatever you want.
Yeah, but we're not going to change the color of the wood. We're doing...
Well, we're going to change a little bit too. A little bit too. We're going to do the whole thing. Yeah.
Listen, I'm just here to learn from our pro. This is Raphael. So if this is your first time joining us, we have a new Hack-A-Mall series here. The same good old me over here. Now learning from the pro Raphael, and he lets me do some stuff, you guys, but
you do a good amount. It's like a 50-50.
He lets me get my hands dirty, but he's gonna tell us what you did here, because I haven't seen it.
Of course. So you guys probably know me as like the behind the camera invisible hand during Deco Lives. I do a lot of the set design here, so I want to bring a little bit of that to here, and actually this one is special to my heart. Yes. And I'll tell you why. Because Rattle Can Painting is probably one of my favorite things to do. I have, like, it looks like Home Depot shelves at my house of how many Rattle Can strip paints I have. So this is something I really like to do.
Fun.
Rattle cans will give you the most pro look of any painting method.
And rattle, what is this? What are you talking about?
So rattle cans is anything of spray paint. Like when you buy it, it has a rattle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. So you got to make sure you mix the active ingredient from the bottom.
Okay,
so
great.
That's what that ball is there for, to help you mix.
And then any specific choices here?
Yeah. So I like Rust-Oleum. I like because they just have tons of variety. To be honest, Rust-Oleum makes you can buy this at both Walmart and Home Depot carry Rust-Oleum products. I like keeping the same brand because I know it's going to work well together. Mm-hmm. They're very affordable. They're, again, any color you could think of, you'll find.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit intimidated about spray painting in my house. So I never really think about doing it. I always want to paint something with a paintbrush.
It's an outside activity for sure.
Outside activity, okay.
So just to go a little bit over the materials that I have here. Starting with masking tape. I went with the good stuff here. In the pumpkin one I mentioned, go with the cheap, go with whatever you have at home. Not here. Whenever I'm painting, if I'm not painting an entire house kind of thing for these small projects, I like going with the good quality masking tape because it just works better.
And so is it frog tape?
Frog tape is what they carry at Home Depot, but if you have a Lowe's, I think Lowe's might not carry, I don't know. But
and what are you looking for in quality when you're...
Buy the good stuff. Like the prices, usually like a lot of stores now go by like base, pro, like medium and pro. Like ask someone at Home Depot like, hey, what's the best one? Okay. Again, like, is it pricey? It's a little bit. We're gonna use so little of it. It's okay. I think it's worth the investment.
And it's worth the investment because it won't
let paint seep through. It's not gonna react to chemicals. It's just a better quality product.
Perfect.
We have a little bit of wood stain here. This is going to be an optional if you want to change the color of the base here. We went with this espresso little can.
Okay, so a little darker.
Yeah. For wood stains, I like stains as opposed to polyurethanes or things like that because it's going to, in this situation, we don't need to make it waterproof. We don't need to make it seal it. We just want to do a color change, and that's where stains come in. For stains, I like going with a foam brush.
Oh.
So foam brush.
Awesome. Okay.
We're gonna need sandpaper. I got this variety pack.
Okay.
For anyone who doesn't know how sandpaper numbers work, the lower the number on the label. Okay. So this is an assorted pack. So we have an 80, a 150, and a 220. This is a grit count. Grit is the little particles that are on here. So the higher the number, the less there are per square inch, so the bigger the particle, if that makes sense.
Okay, the higher the number, the less there are.
The finer the sanding.
The finer the sanding.
Exactly. So an 80, I would call an 80 grit sandpaper when using it on woods and foams as a shaping sandpaper. You're going to be removing so much material that you can almost use it as a shaping tool. As opposed to a 220 is a finishing sandpaper. It's what's going to give you it's going to smooth surfaces. Yeah, like when we talk about like people that do like extreme polishing, they'll go to like a 10,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So you have everything in the middle. 220 for what we're gonna do is more than enough.
So you would start with the 220.
I would just do the 220. We don't need to touch 80 or 150. Keep these because they're great to have around for a million different reasons. But I like this was the assorted pack.
Amazing.
Yeah. So then we have some hot glue, brush, Sharpie, our colors. These are the same color set that we used for the pumpkin hack. So I'm gonna try to reuse as much materials as possible.
Okay, so we're hacking. We're changing the color of the candle holders, but then we're not going to the pool. We're doing a fun, I would say kid-friendly hack that's really spooky and gets you ready for Halloween.
Gets you ready for Halloween when, like, especially now with all the shortages and stuff, like maybe you're not going to find all the decor you're looking for to get your house spooky. Let's start making it, you know, like get around that.
And believe it or not, we're going to make some creepy candles out of this.
Yes.
So you don't need an LED candle for your candle holders for Halloween. We're going to make our own.
Yeah, we're going to make our own.
Okay.
I also we'll get into that probably, but I should go through the whole list of materials. We also have a retractable breakaway blade. So you'll see these, they call them snap blades.
Okay.
Have a new one for what we're gonna do. You're gonna want a really sharp one. So a fresh blade goes a long way here. Maybe adults do this.
And that's for the pool noodle.
For the pool noodle.
So you need a pool noodle. We
need the pool noodle. We have some Elmer's glue and some house paint.
Okay.
Now they're both gonna do the same thing. You can use the glue, the house paint, or this paint. They all are going to serve the same purpose for our hack.
And the house paint is specifically?
We got this because a lot of people will buy these little samples to check them out, and they use like a little bit of it, and then you have it left over sitting around the house. So I thought this is the perfect thing because people usually have house paint sitting around.
Yeah, so the sample size, and this versus craft because
people just have it.
Okay, got it.
It's just convenient. Like sometimes you don't want to go out and get craft paint, and you have a bucket that's been aging in your closet for 6 months from your previous wall color. Let's find something to do with it.
Amazing.
You know?
Marker. And hot glue sticks with a hot glue gun.
Yes, and again, with the hot glue guns, with the sticks, this is a situation, get the cheapest ones you can. We're not actually gluing anything, we're just trying to melt it.
Okay.
So get whatever you want, doesn't matter.
And then little votive LED lights.
Yes.
Okay.
I picked these out as opposed to your standard little ones because I like that they had a little shape and they have a little flicker effect. Yeah. So I went with the little nicer ones because I think it'll look nicer in the end.
Amazing.
Great. All right.
So we're going to start with our candle holders.
I'm going to set this one aside for now. And we're going to just focus on the big one. So, first things first, it has a little sticker on the inside. It's a great warning. Photograph it so you don't know it, but we're going to need to take this out.
Okay,
so I'll let you take that out. All right. That was very good.
Yeah, I'm very helpful.
So now we got to mask off the wood. Okay. Now a big thing with spray paint, like one of the downsides, I guess you could say of it, is that it's hard to control overspray. So we need to cover the wood to make sure we don't get spray paint on it, or if not, we're gonna if you do, we could sand it off, but that's more work. So let's avoid that. I found with these, because it's a cone, when we're masking it off, it's easier to do it with a bunch of small pieces instead of one big one. So
yeah, I'm gonna need your help. I'm gonna watch you do this because I think I've had masking tape issues in the past.
So a lot of times people get mad at masking tape. It's usually the masking tape. I'm not gonna lie. Like get the better masking tape. You'll be surprised the quality difference that you'll see.
Awesome.
With it, it's just the technology. I don't know why it just makes a difference. Small pieces because it's a cone. So if you try to roll it, it's gonna wrinkle, and that little wrinkle is where the paint's gonna sneak in.
Okay.
So I just try to get the middle of the tape aligned with the edge. And do that, and you'll see it kind of comes down a little bit.
Yes.
That's that cone thing. So that's why we're going to do this in multiple pieces.
I see. Okay.
So I'll do the top, you can do the bottom.
Okay, so you were saying was to put paper instead of taping the whole thing to cover the pieces of wood.
Yeah.
That's going to work just fine, and you tape the paper on.
Exactly. So I'm just going to roll it on.
Okay, great.
If you need to do this with 2 sheets of paper, do it with 2 sheets of paper, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, we're just basically trying to cover as much
of the
wood so you don't get. And are we going with black?
Yes. So we're gonna go black. You can do whatever color you want. Like rattle cans come in every color, every finish. Make sure you don't get any of the specialized spray paints. Like you'll have like high heat, you have enamels, you have fabric paints. We're going with the standard stuff.
Says it's Canyon Black Satin for wood, metal, plastic, and more. Funny, it even has a candle holders in the picture.
Yep.
I think we nailed it.
Yeah, it was they knew we were coming. Now, Chuck, I I like the flat ones because I feel like it lays a really nice even coat. And then we're gonna give it that super gloss with this triple glaze.
Yeah.
This stuff here, I love it. You can make on cement, it works really beautifully. You might have to give it 2 coats, but anytime you're trying to give something a really elegant glossy finish, this is the stuff I like to use.
But we could do both. We could leave it matte.
You can leave it matte, or you can make
glossy.
it glossy.
Perfect.
Yes.
So we're gonna go outside and spray paint this.
We're getting a little ahead of us now.
Oh no!
Before we spray painted, we have the sandpaper here for a reason.
Sandpaper.
We're gonna just sand a little bit. So I've already used this sheet a little bit, but with sandpaper, I like to just rip off a small piece, like the size of my hand in this case. Fold it back, and we're just gonna do. You're not trying to take all the paint off. It's just a quick little scuffing like this.
So before you do what I was gonna do, which was rush outside to just paint, you guys see why we need the pro.
No.
You're prepping the metal.
I'm prepping the metal a little bit.
With a 200.
This is 220 grit.
220. Okay.
220 grit, folded in half.
And all you're doing is just creating some texture on it.
Yeah, because basically we want to give it something for the paint to grip onto. If you don't paint it, if you don't sand it first, like say you forgot sandpaper, it's not end of the world, go for it. But that's how you'll get like a little chip on the paint or something.
Okay,
this will prevent that from happening.
Awesome, see?
So I think it's worth like the 10-minute investment here we're gonna do. And also when sanding, I like doing little circular motions because if you just go forward and back, if one little piece of the sand is a little bigger than the others, you'll make a straight line cut on it. That'll be really hard to hide later.
So
circle lightly. Yeah. And if you miss a little spot here, a little spot there, not a big deal. We're not this isn't like a finishing sanding, it's just to prep the metal. So I'll come around. Once I finish sanding, I'm gonna get a paper towel.
And clean up all the
dust. And clean the dust off. A wet paper towel, like moist, not soaked, will be great for this. I'll do a dry one first just to get the thick of it off. Now, if you have rubbing alcohol at home, that's a great degreaser, great material, a great chemical to use for prepping surfaces. So even if you weren't going to sand this first, just give it a wipe down with rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, so it doesn't have any oil.
No oils from the factory and things like that. Just cleans that off. And that'll apply to pretty much any time you're sanding or prepping anything. If it's not wood, it's always doesn't hurt to give it a quick alcohol wipe
now
down.
we run outside.
Now we're gonna go outside and
paint. Great. We're gonna paint this black and then hack magic.
Yes. All right, guys, we're outside. We're gonna do a quick spray paint. With these, make sure they're like, if you're in somewhere up north where it's cold or it's winter, make sure it's not like 50 degrees. Get it a little bit warmer, bring it in the house just to get it to temperature. And before you spray, really shake it up. So we're gonna shake it up, we're gonna get a close-up view. And before we do that, mask. Safety first, people. Now, when I do spray painting, I don't just hold and spray. You're gonna want to do a quick pass. So you start spraying, not touching it. So you start here and spray across and stop. So that way we don't have a pooling of paint happening anywhere. We'll get a nice, just like that. Again, if you don't want to get your hands dirty, I really recommend gloves. And you could see on the paper that overspray I was talking about. All right, that's it. All right, so we're back from outside.
Yes.
We spray painted.
That was very informative, you guys. I learned, I really did. I don't know if any of you learned anything, but I did. That little motion.
Yeah, that's honestly, that passing spray will keep you from having any paint pooling anywhere.
Beautiful. I mean, it looks amazing.
Yeah, you get it, and that's what I love about spray paint. Is it's such a nice and very thin coat of paint.
Yeah.
Even spread, and it dries super quick. Like this is already dry to the touch. It's been maybe 5 minutes.
Nice.
It's dry.
So we're done.
No.
Oh,
so now we're gonna add a little. Usually for our old hacks, maybe this would have been it, but we want to take it up a level with our new thing. So we're gonna take.
We're next leveling.
A little natural fiber brush. Now you can use this. You can use an old toothbrush. You can use whatever, and we're gonna do a little paint splattering on this, just to give it a little texture, a little
Okay, and for that we
can use, again, our apple barrel craft paints. Not the house paint, but we're going to use these guys right here.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I like these because it comes in all the colors. You can pick, I was thinking yellow would be the one we're going to use for that Halloween Wiz Khalifa look.
Awesome. And we need a little bowl?
You can use a little bowl. Again, like this is where I get messy, and I'll just shake up the paint really nicely.
Okay.
Because we're only using a little brush, we're not actually painting the whole thing, and we need very little paint. What will pull up on the cap will be enough, and one less thing should get dirty.
Amazing.
We're gonna just get the tip wet. Now, before we go jumping in and doing it on the piece, I like setting a little napkin or something and just test out how it's gonna splatter on there. See if you're getting the kind of spread you want.
Yes.
Try it at different distances, close up. That way you get a little hang of it. Piece of cardboard, maybe your box that your hack items came, your summer box.
Yes.
Cut that, use it, so you can give it a little bit of life before throwing it in the trash. Like use it for your crafting. So I'm gonna just take a little bit of that paint off, and I like a little distance for a fine spray. I'm gonna do it away from Claudia.
Yes.
And we're gonna just do a little like that, and look at that.
Yeah, I see it.
So I'm gonna turn it so you guys can see it. I don't know if you're able to see it.
Amazing.
A little bit from the top, just kind of getting that spray look.
You're very good at that.
So I'm gonna let you do the bottom.
Oh no.
So I even put the right amount of paint on there for you.
Okay, and then I'm gonna do what you said. So practice first.
Practice on the
Never
a little bit
done
on
this
the,
before, and you're using your thumb.
I'm using just my index finger, like a.
Okay.
And this will work
Okay.
with a toothbrush. This will work with, honestly, you can any kind of stiff bristle brush.
I'm gonna do the bottom.
Yeah. You'll be able to do this.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, if I can do this, you guys can totally do this as well.
100%. And if you have a brush like this one per se, and it's all you have, and this one, they're kind of long, you're not going to get a spray. Cut it. Go with scissors, cut it in the middle, and then use from the midpoint, and you'll be able to do that with a longer brush like this.
So on my very first try, I did get some bigger blobs. I'm not hating it.
I like that.
Kind of looks like a galaxy, but I think I
Then
covered
maybe
this.
Do another one on the other side.
Okay,
just
let's
for
balance this
You can mix
out.
colors. You can do maybe a yellow-orange combo.
So since I got some bigger globs on there, maybe I can try to get it again.
Yeah.
This is...
Now, if you really mess this up, wipe it down, spray paint it again, start over.
Okay.
Not the end of the world.
I think we did it.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, this is quick. Like, it moves quick. There's a lot of different materials and things here, but it moves quick.
Okay.
Now, this paint, we need to let it dry for a little bit longer. If you have a hair dryer and you hit it, it'd be quicker. If not, 10 minutes or whatever to dry.
All right, perfect.
Once this is dry, again, like I mentioned, I really love hitting it with 1 or 2 coats of the thick glaze. It's the same technique as we use here, so we don't need to show you guys again. It's just gonna be the same process. This will lay on really thick. That's why it's called the triple thick glaze here, as opposed to standard glaze. And it will, first of all, protect because like this paint isn't nearly as strong as spray paint, so it might scratch. Like this would make it all one solid, protected thing.
Okay.
And will keep wax from sticking to it as well. So if you do, we don't recommend using it with a real candle, but if you do, it'll help protect it. Now we have another one that we already glazed, so we don't need to see that whole process.
Okay, so this one's the shiny one, and then there's still one more process. So this was our small size.
Yeah. So you can see the difference, just the depth of the black here.
I do see it.
I think the glaze
it
really
looks super nice.
Yeah,
yes.
Makes it look like it came factory that way. Like it looks like a thought out process. So this is what we were talking about before about using less tape. In this one, instead of using paper in the middle, I taped the whole thing.
Yeah.
So now we get you speed ramp through us taking 10 minutes to peel all this tape off.
Fun.
All right, we're gonna start staining. I'm gonna just I know we've been getting this table all messy, but stain is particularly hard to clean. So I'm just gonna put a paper towel under this just in case. To open, and no one really might have one of these at home. A flathead screwdriver will do the same thing.
Perfect.
It's just, this is a little better.
And we don't need to mask the metal.
Not really, because it's black already, and splashed. So
if you get some of it on the metal, just wipe it away.
Just wipe it away really quickly, and because you'll see in the video, like it's very dark. So it's, even if it does fall on the metal and you don't wipe it away and it did dry off, I don't think it'll even show. So it's like a win across the board.
Perfect.
This does smell strong also, so proper ventilation. If you are going to be doing it in a closed space, masks on.
Yeah, I do smell it. I mean, we're in a big warehouse here, so.
Yeah, and we have fans running, like we're good. So I'm going to take my brush here, just a little bit. You can even soak some off on the paper and just apply that on.
Any direction.
Any direction.
Up or down.
Doesn't matter. As long as it's a thin coat. That's the main thing, is really apply very little. Now I'm starting holding it, but I'm gonna having to put it down so I don't get fingerprints.
And no prepping of the wood required.
No prepping, we're gonna go right for it. You could sand it, but then you're gonna have to sand it down to smooth it out. This is easier.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hold it by the lid here so I can. And if you have too much, like I have a little too much on here, I'm just gonna, again, that's why the paper towel is handy to have around. You wanna put, again, very little.
Okay.
And if you think you're going too much, wipe it off. Not a big deal.
Yeah, so we're going for like a darker candle holder with a little like galaxy look to it, really Halloween-y, and I can't wait to do the pool noodle. It's gonna look really well, like
yeah, with the whole
together.
combo together, it'll look really cool.
Great.
So once I've already got everything covered, I'm gonna start wiping some off. So I put way too much on here. This little sponge really absorbed it, so you see it's kind of blotchy. Just wipe some off. You can dab it, just wipe some off like that. Just get it off. And this wood absorbs very little. You don't need to go crazy with it. Again, gloves if you don't want to get your hands dirty.
Yep, and we're not going for a solid, it's just a stain, so you still see the other wood color coming through. I think it's looking really, really cool.
Yeah, it's not a painting, it's a stain. Like that's what it's supposed to do. So we just wipe off the excess here. And look at that.
Yeah, it gave it a really cool effect.
So what it's gonna do is it's gonna collect a little bit more where you have pitting in the wood.
Okay.
And it will make the texture really pop too, which I think again for Halloween is such a nice. And if you want it darker than this, once it's dry, come back
and give it
another little bit of dabs and rub it in. But I think this is like a nice, we're at a good place here.
Yeah.
And it also dries instantly. Win-win. I love it.
I really like what it did. You could see what he was mentioning, like some of the textured parts got it a little bit more. I think it gave it a really unique look.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's pretty much it for this one, for the actual item here. We're gonna still make our pool noodle candle.
Okay.
But we're pretty much good here.
So we let that dry a little.
Yeah, you need to it dries almost instantly, but it's good to let it sit. If not, you'll end up getting little fingerprints on it, and we're trying to avoid that.
Awesome.
So let it dry. We can grab it from the top and set it aside.
Okay.